the funding situation, or the funding hurdle, which is it's quite a hurdle, has been definitely a pain point for myself, as well as some of the brands or suppliers that I represent. And because I'm a professional, I currently have a portfolio career. I'm full-time marketing manager, and this is a business that I have started on the side as well. And obviously over time, I plan to move into it full-time. But because of my portfolio career, whatever savings I've been able to get, one part is whatever savings I get on a monthly basis, I invest in my company. And then secondly, I've been fortunate enough to have friends and family who have been able to support my business. And when I've spoken to the merchants or the brands on my platform, it's been a very similar story. Working portfolio careers to save money to invest, and then looking for funding from friends and family, because access to funding such as banks, they come with very high interest rates, double-digit interest rates that we see on the continent. Most of them are quite risk averse. I've been very fortunate to have a sister who is in banking, so she's been very strict with me in terms of what I need to do to be able to, one, even get funding from her, or even try and prepare to approach a bank. So that has been a major hurdle. What we've had to do is help each other in terms of structuring payment solutions, or payment processes. So first looking at, number one, what are the payment terms that we will have between the merchants, right? And then being able to then use that to build inventory to provide to our consumers. But currently what we see now is that there is the access to grants for females. There's also access to, as I've seen over time, cheaper funding from banks. But a lot of us are quite hesitant to get access to that until we've gotten to a place where we know that our business is, we feel confident enough to get access to that funding. But it's definitely a journey that we're going on. One brand that I can give, for example, a Nigerian brand, over the past 5 years has been able to garner up to over 20,000 consumers who purchase their ticket items are over at least $10 per person on a monthly basis. So they've now been able to, save money, reinvest, build a factory. And a lot of this was the founder working from home, having a portfolio career to try and keep her costs and expenses down. On the other hand, your second question, which is about supply chain and how COVID impacted that. For me, it was a very interesting scenario where we had to approach other SMEs that were still operating and were finding innovative ways of operating. So firstly, in cross-border trade was quite limited. I had, at the beginning of the pandemic, around March, when it became quite clear that there was going to be a lockdown, was only operating in Nigeria. And when the lockdown happened in Nigeria, we couldn't really move. And during that time, I used my time to work on setting up operations in South Africa. And luckily, by the time that a lot of the restrictions were lifted, we were able to then work with a freight forwarder. I was able to get products from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and bring them over to South Africa and vice versa. But COVID really hindered a lot of things. It was only when the essential services mandate came up, where personal care and beauty fell under, that we could now engage the likes of DHL. And DHL has done a great job in giving a lot of small, medium-sized businesses like myself access to much lower rates based on the volume that you do. So it goes back to the data point. So capturing that data has been very, very important for us to be able to show. I had to use that information to my international courier partners such as DHL to show them this is the volume of customers that I get on a weekly basis, monthly basis. And what we also have to understand is that from a lot of SMEs, I think it goes back to the point that Leonard was making, is that we are still working on in a very manual environment. my consumer journey is, or a lot of the consumers who approach us they don't just use digital platforms, right? A lot of them will call us because there's a lack of trust in accessing some of these websites. So they want to hear a human voice, and then they'll send you a bank transfer. So then how does my website record that data, and I have the bulk of that information to share with my stakeholders, such as my logistics partner or my bank? There's no solutions. I've had to create a system. I work on an integrated Excel solution where all the calls that are come in, I have to record manually. My website, my website orders, I have to record manually, because that rich information gives me enough information or substantiates why I will then go to, approach finance options or go to my different stakeholders to get much lower rates. So what it was quite over time, when DHL was able to support, then we saw the smaller logistics partners also come on board to support us as well. I really think that for me, my key insight is to reduce the barrier to access technology. I only know about certain platforms because of my network and because of research and perhaps because of my education. Not a lot of SMEs have that privilege. There are women who are generating a lot of revenue in different aspects of trade, and or just generally people, and they just don't have that access to information. So platforms such as Ancilly, I think being able to increase or increase your communication, ensure that there's collaboration. This platform has given me a new insight already into what other platforms I can access. So really it's for us to reduce the barrier to access to this information, help us with the penetration of more people to onboard in technology.